All right. We got Dr. Kiefer on the show. Thank you, sir, for doing this.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colin Baina.
How's it going, everyone?
And you're a man that does many things. Late teens, early 20s. Did you have any idea of what you wanted to do?
When I was in high school, I was pretty confident in pursuing drawing and painting. I didn't know how that would sort of manifest itself as a job. That wasn't, frankly, something I thought much about. I just knew how I liked spending my time and knew that I didn't mind working. Eventually, I just had faith that I would kind of figure things out.
From a teaching perspective, at least, it went English, then art.
Did one full year in art. There were some changes in the budget, and lost that position. Settled in English, stayed there for a long time. The opportunity came up to return. You know, they're both a big part of my life, and they both will be.
You're running every day, you did a marathon. For you, what was the initial moment where you wanted to get into running?
So I've been lifting consistently for a pretty long time, and it started to get not so like boring, just kind of like going through the motions. And I wanted to sort of like, I guess, challenge myself in something else. So end of 2022, I made a goal that I wanted to start running. And then beginning of 2023, I was like, okay, might as well do a half marathon. I've never done that before. And once I did that, caught the bug, did a marathon, and yeah, it's only going up from there.
I don't know if you remember this. When I was back here in March, I was telling you how you're like one of the most talented people I know. And you said that you don't believe in talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that means, like, you don't think anyone's born with a specific kind of trait and it's all learned?
So yeah, I'm sure I did say that, and I do believe that to an extent. So we certainly have examples of like savants, like people who just sort of come into the world and have this propensity at something. They can just somehow play the piano, for example. So I can't deny that those instances are real. But I think for the average person, you know, the word talent often serves as an excuse for hard work. Like, I can't do that, you know, the way she does, but, you know, she's so talented. And that talented person is probably spending a lot of time doing that. And they probably struggled quite a bit, you know, to get to where they're at. So I think to sort of just categorize it as this naturally occurring event versus something that's the byproduct of time and effort is a way of us sometimes like excusing ourselves from having to do that. The way I always see it is if talent were a real thing, then there'd be no need for schools because everyone would just already just go locate that thing that you can do brilliantly and just keep doing it. It should be easy for you, but we know that's not true. You know, we need to be challenged by different things. We need to be well-rounded, and then if we find something that we just really have a passion for, we spend more time on it, and we get better and better at it. And so I think that's a better way to think. You know, even if talent were a real, like, measurable thing, I think that I would always root and put my money on the hard worker over the sort of natural born talent, because I think eventually they'll get lapped, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to think about it.
And for me, it's physically, it's, you know, grueling, but for me, it's almost as much as a mental thing.
Yep.
To where I'm running, and then for a while, I'd be like, I need to walk now. And something just kind of clicked in my head where I'm like, just keep running. Don't, like, start walking, don't slow down, and you're doing this until you finish the mile, 2 miles, whatever.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to get into running, what advice would you tell them to, like, push through that voice telling you to, you know, stop, slow down?
Actually, I would not tell them to push through that.
Okay.
Running and walking, once you're starting out, is a great, like, combo to start with.
Yeah.
Because we talked about on the run, like, you don't want to be doing something that you can't sustainably do for
That's
a
fair.
long time. So yeah, doing some sort of a run-walk combo and increasing your like time on feet over time. It's a great way to get started and kind of fall in love with the process. And yeah.
And you recently had the honor of one of your paintings was selected for an exhibit or a display at a museum. Mm-hmm. How was it selected, and what did that kind of mean for you?
Yeah, I was in a show in Pawtucket at an arts collaborative, and yeah, won Best of Show for a still life show. Yeah, it did mean a lot in particular because I went to the show and really admired a lot of the paintings that were there, so I didn't know how mine would fit, you know, in the range of that. But yeah, it felt great to get the recognition. I'm also kind of careful about overvaluing that type of thing because it's all subjective, right? So like if it were a different week at a different show, like I wouldn't have been recognized, and that wouldn't mean that my painting was any different, and it wouldn't mean it didn't have value. I can't help but be happy with that when it does well, but at the same time I don't want to overvalue it because it means that intrinsic value of making it is diminished by the fact that you're only really focused on what other people want from you. It's kind of like a balance, but at the end of the day, it was nice. It was really nice. And the juror, said some nice things about it. I could tell I had experienced it the way I had hoped people would experience it, so that was really nice.
The idea of gaining muscle and cardio at the same time, there's kind of a common notion that isn't kind of coinciding together.
Yep.
Why do you disagree with that statement?
Putting on muscle and size is all about just calories in and calories out. So if you're in a calorie surplus, along with doing consistent cardio, you can gain weight, gain muscle, and increase your cardio at the same time. Obviously, there is some trade-off, like you can't be trying to train for a marathon and put on 30 pounds of muscle at the same time, but it is still possible.
I was looking at some of your works. I think Kraken was one of the ones I saw, and also the one you put on your Instagram where it was like a minotaur, almost like the head. What are some inspirations you have with art?
Kind of naturally drawn to certain things visually. It's as simple as just, it could be a plate of, nectarines or something, or it could be like a mythical beast. It's just certain things have this visual presence that just kind of draws me. In the same way, like you can listen to different songs from different genres and they can kind of pull you in for different reasons. So yeah, my subject matter wise is I like drawing from my imagination, but I also like painting from observation. So I try not to limit myself in terms of if something compels me to try to create it or do my own depiction of it. I don't really think too hard about like how it fits with the rest of what I've already done. I just kind of go for it, and a lot of times it's sort of more automatic anyway, like it's just a sketchbook and that's cool, I want to make that. So it can kind of come from anywhere, and if I find it visually fascinating and also sometimes offers a degree of challenge in some way, or like can I make this thing and can I study it in a way that keeps my interest all the way through? So it's kind of like to see if I can do it, I guess, the way that I'm picturing it in my mind. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you just keep doing it.
Something else you did along with the marathon was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
How did that come to be, and like what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that was an amazing experience, something I'll never forget, that's for sure. So I wanted to study abroad when I was in school, and I went to kind of like a convention at school where they had tons of different options. And when I was leaving, I stopped by a booth, which was a company called Give Volunteers, and that was freshman year, so I signed up for that, was planning on doing it in the summer. After that, obviously COVID hit and it got pushed back 2 years. So I ended up doing that summer of 2022, I believe. It was 3 weeks I was in Tanzania. First 2 weeks I was like helping with volunteering on an island off the coast of Tanzania. And then last week, hiked up Kilimanjaro. Insane experience.
Now, is that a couple days? Like, how long does it take to go up?
The slower you go up, the easier it is for you to sort of like succeed, just because of the oxygen differences at the peak and obviously at the base of the mountain. The group that I went with, they took us up in 4.5 days and then down in a day and a half, so 6 days total.
Hell yeah. And would you ever consider like another mountain, like, I don't know, like Everest one day or something like that?
Yeah, that is actually on my like bucket list far in the future. That and the other 5 highest peaks in all the continents, so 7 highest peaks.
Sure, you know Stanley Kubrick?
Mm-hmm.
Something that I took from him that I don't think everyone takes from him, he was almost like a near perfectionist to me, to almost a fault, to where he would do like 40 takes of the same thing, and it's just, now I'm an artist, I do stop motion, and it was like a little squiggle, and I was just not happy with like the way it was happening. I got to a point where I was like, I'm the only one that's going to see this. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I just had to kind of steamroll it. What is kind of your way of grappling that area?
There's a self-consciousness and vulnerability that comes with making art. I think I've always really liked the process and not fixated on the product. I'm usually not like thinking about what someone's going to say about it, like you said, like thinking about an audience. It can be good to think about audience, obviously, but it can also hinder you and make you sort of like edit yourself in ways that could be destructive. So that's one way, is just focusing on the process. I like the actual making of something more than the finishing most of the time. Also thinking about what we like to see and how we want to contribute to that conversation and what I like to consume. is art that has a particular lens. It's almost like we all wear these lenses and we experience the universe through those lenses. And someone like Kubrick like invites us in and says like, borrow my lens and let me tell you the story through this lens. If it were all perfect, or if it were all how we would do it, there wouldn't be anything to it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about is if I'm, painting a landscape, I'm gonna try to show you what drew me to it in the first place and like invite you to look at it the way I'm seeing it. And some people will like wearing your lens for a little while and some aren't interested, and that usually is a good thing, because if everyone loved it, it might, I don't know if that would say the right thing about it. But yeah, in terms of just deep down having doubts, being reluctant and thinking about judgment, everybody, I think that flutters through your brain no matter what. But at the end of the day, if you like doing it and you focus on the process, only positive things can come out of it.
You're opening yourself to clients for personal training.
Yes.
What can somebody expect? Like, say they're like, oh, I want to reach out. Are you doing something where, they want to gain 20 pounds of muscle and you kind of work through what that is, or maybe they just want to have workouts, or maybe a bit of both of what you're offering?
Yeah, it all depends on the person and their goals, but yeah, anyone that is either very new to the fitness, their fitness like journey, or just feels like kind of stuck and has some goals that they want to hit, they don't know how to hit them, yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to see if I can help you.
From just a pure diet, do you have anything that you're regimented right now?
Yeah, basically every day. The most important thing if you're getting into fitness and lifting or whatever is making sure you're eating around your maintenance level for calories, and along with that, eating enough protein. Most people don't eat enough protein. Before I went to school for kinesiology, I had little to no idea how much protein you should actually be eating. It's usually around 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for me, that's like 180 grams. That's very difficult, but I make it work. Yeah, just eating a relatively clean diet. Again, not, like you said, restricting yourself completely. Like, I have cheat meals every once in a while. It's got to be something that's sustainable for a long period of time.
And with getting to that protein kind of goal,
Yep.
Are you doing protein shakes? Are you just eating a ton of chicken? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I have some protein shakes. I think most of your protein should come from actual food.
Yeah.
But obviously that depends on like a person-to-person basis, whether it's easy for you to do that or not. So yeah, I have a protein shake usually every day as well.
Today I was able to get that drawing done
Wow.
of you from your Instagram, so I wanted to give that to you.
Wow.
It was done on the back of my journalism quiz. I got some free time in between classes.
How'd you do it? Oh,
Yeah, 666. So yeah, I want to thank you for doing this, and it's been a real pleasure.
of course. It was great to see you.
See Fit, Be Fitter. I'll link
Yep.
that below. And is there anything else you want to, tell people? Hey, I'm Colin Baina. I'm a personal trainer. What's up?
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer, newly certified. If you guys have any questions, like anything at all related to that field, feel free to reach out to me. Love to see if I can help.